Maria Eagle is the Labour MP for Garston and Halewood. Good morning.
Good morning.
What is your view of these plans to carry out mass testing in Liverpool?
It's a good thing, and it could help in a lot of ways. Partly because, look, there's lots of people that you talk to the hospital staff there at the hospital that's the worst hit in the country at the moment, Royal and Aintree at the Trust there. They've got 12% staff absence. Some of those people are at home not knowing if they've got COVID or not. So being able to get rapid tests can get people who are currently isolating at home because they might have had a contact with somebody who might have it back to work faster. It's the same with teachers in our schools, with care staff in our care homes. So it has the potential to get people back to work faster than they otherwise might be able to go, and to catch people who were asymptomatically and not unknowingly perhaps spreading the virus around. Has got to be a good thing. It really has.
Do you think people will want to get tested if it means they then might have to isolate?
I think there is a concern about that. Some will, because they'll want to anyway for their own health reasons. But many will be concerned about what the implications are for their income. You know, there's many people in Liverpool who are one paycheck away from penury, who, if they don't work, they find it hard to be able to pay for food for the kids for the next week, to pay the rent or to pay the bills. And for those people, I think there's got to be a lot more done to make sure that they can be assured that there will be financial support if you have to self-isolate.
We've already got a question, actually, if I may put to you, from Steve, who says, if you get tested positive and have to isolate, will you get paid 80% of your salary or just sick pay?
Well, there's, at the moment, the law is, and I think that they should use this trial to look at different ways of providing financial support. The Prime Minister said in the House of Commons yesterday that one of the reasons why test and trace isn't working is because some people told to self-isolate don't. Well, there's reasons why they don't, and the financial support is one of the reasons. At the moment, if you get sick pay, and not everybody does get statutory sick pay or work-based sick pay. If you get sick pay, you can get that. There's also a payment called the test and trace support payment that some people might be eligible for if they're eligible for income-related benefits, or if they're facing financial hardship even though they're not eligible for those. Then the local authority has a discretion to pay this £500 payment, which might help some people. But it's not clear to everybody who might be deciding, do I get a test or not, what support and help is there, and people will worry about this. I think that's got to be made a lot clearer, and I think that anything that will assure people that they're not going to face more hardship if they do the right thing has got to be good. Look, I mean, since the end of September, it's been unlawful, if you get told to self-isolate, not to. But there's not been as much emphasis on telling people what support they can get. And I'm afraid the government have been they've come across as only giving people financial support reluctantly. You know, they only renewed the furlough scheme, which many of us have been calling for months, on the day it was due to be finished. They've got to get ahead of the game and provide this assurance far in advance. Now, perhaps in Liverpool, they can try out some arrangements for communicating with people about the money that they're entitled to, making sure they get it paid quickly. Maybe they can do some work on that whilst they're doing the testing pilot.
Let me ask you another question that's coming in on the texts here, if I may, Maria Eagle, Labour MP. Is testing for Liverpool or Liverpool City region, which is much broader?
Just the council area, Liverpool City Council area at the moment. For the first phase, there is the capacity and the intention perhaps to spread it around to the rest of the Liverpool City region once they've got it up and running in Liverpool. But at the moment, my understanding is, and this is from the city, not from the government, which the government haven't communicated with me at all about this, but it's Liverpool City Council area only at the moment.
How did you then find out if the government didn't tell you? I found out from the mayor of Liverpool, who had the courtesy to inform local members of Parliament about it. Your view of that in terms of communication from the government?
Well, I think it's very poor. It's not about whether I get to hear. It's about the fact that I've got many thousands of constituents who are going to be asking me questions, and it would be helpful if I could answer them with authority because I'd had information from the government. But that hasn't happened on this occasion. It's not the first time either.
The few messages have come in saying people would be happy to be tested, happy to take part, but others saying that they won't. Actually, not to do with necessarily the money side of things, just because they don't want to. And if they don't feel like they've got symptoms or they don't feel like they're unwell, why should they have to? What would you say could be the remedy or should be the remedy to that if that becomes a bigger problem?
Well, I think let's see how it goes to start with. At the moment, testing regimes and arrangements are purely voluntary. And I think if you can communicate with people properly and with authority and convince them that authorities are on their side and they want to do what's best for local people, then I think you're going to get more confidence and more people being willing to come forward in a spirit of solidarity with their fellow citizens. And I think that we've got a chance with this pilot to see how that goes in Liverpool, because Liverpool is a place where there is great solidarity and internal cohesion, and so it'll be interesting to see to what extent people resist taking tests for reasons other than finance. And I think that you can redesign your arrangements on the basis of what you find. But I think a lot of people will do it. And for some people, there will be reasons to do it, like they might be stuck at home having to look after a child who's been sent home from school because of somebody in their bubble. And it might get you back to work faster if you can have a quick test for the family, you know, it might get the kids back to school faster, and that is all to the good. So this could be very, very good for lots of reasons.
Are there parts of society that you are worried about reaching with this in terms of communication, in terms of people, you know, knowing that they should be doing this?
I think that to start with, what will happen is that those who see a benefit in tests, whether it's outside schools, whether it's teachers, whether it's care home workers, whether it's universities, I think that to start with, what you'll see is people coming forward, and then as it happens, others in the city may see the advantage of it and may start to think, actually, that's not a bad idea.
Has this given you some hope?
Yes, I mean, I think that in the end, this, if it can be done effectively, is a way of getting on top of the virus faster and more effectively than we've had until now. So I hope that it will work. I hope that it will be successful. And I hope that people in Liverpool will take advantage of it. It is an opportunity to make sure that we can get some of the worst rates in the country coming down further and faster, and get ourselves out of not only the national lockdown on the 2nd of December, but also hopefully out of the top tiers of restrictions. Because in the end, restrictions are what cause ill health, are what cause economic ill health as well. And so the whole city of Liverpool wants to be out of the COVID restrictions when it's safe as soon as possible. And this is a way of us getting there faster.
And just finally, why do you think Liverpool has such high rates? What do you put it down to?
We have a lot of general ill health, a lot of people who live in deprived communities. And I think that also there's some speculation, I think there may be something to this, that when the national lockdown was lifted, it was based more on figures that you got in London, which was ahead of the curve and therefore came out of the first peak faster, and that perhaps it was too soon to lift the restrictions in Liverpool, and there was therefore a pool that remained of infection that then had a chance to flare up faster, and at a time in communities who are more vulnerable anyway, because of poverty, because of deprivation, because of things like that. And I think that that's probably something to do with it.
Maria Eagle, Labour MP for Garston and Halewood, thank you.